Welcome to Eden Health Nuggets. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at diabetes mellitus. Diabetes is a condition where your blood glucose levels or sugar levels rise above the normal. If this happens long term, then you get diabetes. The food that we eat is broken down into many substances which include sugars, and these sugars are needed by our cells or our bodies to produce energy. So the pancreas then makes a hormone called insulin, and insulin is supposed to act in a way that channels these glucose molecules to the cells for energy production. Somehow this doesn't happen. Maybe because there is no insulin production, little insulin production, or there is insulin but the body is unable to utilize it to perform its processes. So as a result, an individual now has elevated levels of blood glucose. There are three common types of diabetes mellitus. There is type 1, type 2, and also gestational diabetes. With type 1 diabetes, an individual does not produce insulin at all. It is suggested that this could be as a result of autoimmunity, a condition where we say the body is attacking itself. So it attacks the pancreatic cells that are supposed to produce this insulin, and as a result there is no insulin production. These individuals need to dose themselves with insulin on a daily basis. With type 2 diabetes, there is insulin, but the body is not able to utilize this insulin such that it can be able to channel the glucose into the cells. With gestational diabetes, it arises during pregnancy, normally expected to end with pregnancy, but sometimes it does not end. As a result, you'd find after pregnancy, this individual can develop type 2 diabetes. Diabetes also affects children, and this could be type 1 or type 2. With type 1 diabetes, it can be noted as early as soon after potty training. These children can wet the bed frequently or on a daily basis. It could be an indication of sleep disorders, but in most cases, it is a highlight that this child might be affected by diabetes mellitus. With type 2 diabetes in children, it is not evident to really pick up on the symptoms, but rather it is important that you just watch out for symptoms, even the symptoms that do affect adults. Common risk groups that are affected by diabetes mellitus are people who are unable to control a healthy weight. Also people with obesity. It also affects people with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is mostly affecting pregnant women. Then it can also be as a result of genetic predisposition. And symptoms of diabetes mellitus include frequent urination, excessive thirst, excessive hunger, or sometimes poor wound healing. These are the similar symptoms that you can also watch out for in children. And if this is not carefully monitored, they can arise in complications that are rather more serious, like kidney disease, heart disease, stroke, blurry vision or poor eyesight, to mention a few. And particularly in men, it can cause erectile dysfunction or other sexual disorders and low libido. And in women, it can arise in urinary tract infections and yeast infections. So when we look at our lifestyles and our dietary approach, we can be able to manage diabetes mellitus and to some extent try to prevent it. It is important to know your alternatives instead of using normal sugar. So there are nutritive sweeteners and non-nutritive sweeteners. With the non-nutritive sweeteners, they are much more preferred to the nutritive sweeteners because they don't have a tendency to increase blood glucose levels. And these include plant alcohols like xylitol. You can also include erythritol, stevia, monk fruit. Some nutrients are also important to add to the diet. For instance, chromium is suggested to help reduce or lower blood glucose levels. Cinnamon can be used, and it helps to control frequent urination or micturition, and also for those children who bedwet, it is suggested that it can help if taken before bed. For individuals taking metformin medication for diabetes, they can also, with the guidance of their practitioner, supplement with vitamin B12 as they tend to be more deficient of this vitamin. Ginseng can also help, especially for males that have been affected with diabetes and they have a lower sex drive. It helps to support sexual function, other than also helping with reducing blood glucose levels. Neem powder, clove, those are also very crucial to add, as they just help with managing blood glucose levels. They are said to mimic the action of insulin, or they do assist with channeling glucose into the cells or help to clear the glucose concentration in the blood. So they can actually help if they are incorporated into the diet. So it's very crucial that we can manage our lives through lifestyle and diet so that we can be able to prevent or manage the diseases that are caused by lifestyle. We need to make sure that we focus on eating right, living well, and above all, let's continuously check in with our practitioners for regular checkups so that we always play on the safe side. Remember, we can beat these lifestyle ailments if we can modify our lifestyle. Thank you.